Hey everyone, welcome to video number 2 of our Porsche Cayman K-swap project. Today, we're going to continue to see how feasible it is to put a K-series in a Cayman. But before we get to that, there was a whole bunch of questions in the comments, and I thought I would address some of those questions as best I can. So, one of the big questions is, why would I do this? Why would you put a K-series? Why would you put a Honda engine in a Porsche? And I forget, a lot of people don't realize how amazing this engine actually is. The high level reasons why you would want to put a K-series into any car realistically is they're super reliable, they're super inexpensive. You can usually pick up K-series for like $1,000 or less. They are extremely easy to make power with. If you go and put a turbo setup on one of your K-series and you run about 10 pounds of boost, you can usually double the horsepower output of that engine. So those are just some of the reasons why, and I don't know, just certain applications, it really makes sense to put a K-series in because of the packaging. They're very simple engines. There's not a lot of connections, not a lot of wires, not a lot of things to hook up. And they just are very simple. They make great power. And all that being said, it's not a swap for everything. I get asked all the time, can I swap a K-series into something big or heavy? And I'm like, no, it wouldn't make sense to put a K-series into a vehicle that's big and heavy. But something like this Cayman makes total sense. It's a lightweight car, it's agile, it handles really well. And if you are in need of an engine replacement, in my mind, it makes sense to put one of these engines in. So hopefully that helps address why. One of the other questions I got about the previous video is why we're going with a K20 and not a K24. And we're gonna address that today. On the stand, we've actually switched out the engine to a K24 today, and we're gonna start playing around with the K24 and see how well it fits. Another question was about the axle angle. We're gonna look at the axle angle today and try to show you better how we're gonna make this setup work with and keep a reasonable axle angle. And then another big question was, why aren't we using the Porsche transmission? And there's a whole bunch of reasons why. The main reason why we're not gonna be using the Porsche transmission in this car, in this swap is, well, actually there's two main reasons. One, you would end up needing to cut out a whole bunch of the firewall to be able to make the engine fit. It's just physically longer than the original engine. Also, the engine's very high, and it would basically stick up past where the engine cover is. That would create a whole bunch of other issues. For anyone that wanted to do this swap in a Boxster, you'd probably have to lose the convertible top or never be able to put the convertible top down. So technically you can do anything you want. You could cut up the car and make any engine fit. I know guys have put LS swaps in these cars, and yes, you can definitely do that, but I've seen the pictures of those swaps, and you have to basically cut out the entire firewall, that whole wall behind the passenger seats, and then recreate all of that. And in my opinion, that's like too much work, and it's not feasible for the normal person. What we're trying to do here is create a swap or a kit for a normal person that has had an engine failure and wants something that is easy to do, gives them peace of mind. This engine's super cheap. It won't be cheap to swap it in. The total cost of putting this engine in will be probably close to what a Porsche engine replacement would cost you, but the benefits of that would be more power, it's lighter, and the peace of mind that if you do have another engine failure at some point, you'll spend $1,000 replacing the engine versus $25,000 rebuilding a whole nother engine. So anyways, I hope that's helped clear up some of the questions. I'm sure there'll be more, and you know what? By all means, if you have more questions, put in the comments. I'm happy to try to do my best to answer them. But today, we are here to test out to see if we can make a K24 fit in the Cayman. This is a Honda K24 Z7. This is out of a 2012 to 2015 Honda Civic Si. This is the same generation or same model engine that I put in my 911. And I really like these engines because they're basically the last K-series that was mass produced. They're the newest version. They usually have the lowest amount of kilometers, and they have this single exhaust port. And most manufacturers are going to this single exhaust port because it's efficient. And when you go and put a turbo on that single exhaust port, the turbo response is super fast. Packaging becomes really nice. You can basically tuck a turbo right in here, nice and tight. And these engines don't get swapped into other cars very often because they have a unique crank sensor that doesn't work with the older style ECUs. So guys don't usually swap them into the older traditional Civics and Integras and whatnot. So I have one here. This is a mock-up. This is a really dirty one. I have like 5 of these engines technically. This one is earmarked for being rebuilt. It's kind of all apart, but it will do the job today for test fitting height-wise and see how much this engine sticks out of the engine bay in the Cayman. So, additionally, if we have enough time, I want to test fit a whole bunch of turbo manifolds. Shout out to @myjdmaddiction. He let me borrow a whole bunch of turbo manifolds. He stocks all kinds of turbo manifolds. And he actually produces his own turbo manifolds. These two here are actually a line of his own turbo manifolds, this 613 line. And he has a bunch of different fitments and a bunch of different turbo manifolds. Super nice quality. So I borrowed 2 of the Sidewinder ones, and then also he had a PRL 8th gen Civic Si turbo manifold in stock. I borrowed that, and then I had this old turbo kit that used to be Eric's actual turbo kit before. We're gonna test fit it. And I have a PRL single exhaust port style 9th gen Civic Si turbo manifold. So we're gonna try to test fit a bunch of these turbo manifolds today. Basically, we're gonna try to see how feasible it is to put an off-the-shelf turbo manifold on a K-Series in a Cayman, because if that's feasible, it will make life a lot simpler for anyone else that would be interested in doing this swap. So anyways, we're gonna start messing around with this engine. We gotta get it all centered and up in the Cayman and see how a K24 fits in the Cayman. All right guys, so K24 lifted up inside the Cayman, just like we did with the K20 the other day. We've tried to position it basically the same way that we had the K20, and it is positioned perfectly straight up and down, like we did with the K20 to get the same fitment. Ground clearance wise, you can kind of see here, this will kind of emphasize what I was talking about in the last video about the custom oil pan. If we go and tilt the engine forward, then the flat portion of the oil pan is also on an angle. So we'll need to account for this in any kit that we produce so that we can keep a flat bottom oil pan. And the reason for this would be ground clearance, because and we don't want this portion that sticks down, so it will basically just be flat across there, which would line up nicely with the rest of the car. It's hard to see on camera, but it will clear and won't be sticking down too far. And then to address the other concern that people had about the axle angle, and yes, that was one of my biggest concerns and why I had kind of ruled out this swap in this configuration entirely before we got around to test fitting it like we did. And the reason is the way Porsche had positioned the engine and transmission in the Cayman. The axle used to come through this space. And if you look at how that is positioned with the center line of the hub, it actually is angled backwards. And there was a significant angle for the OEM axles. They were pointed backwards. So what I figure is, if we recreate this axle angle, the same angle that was pointing backwards, but now pointing forwards, we can reach the Honda diff. But there's a piece of subframe in the way, this guy right here. This guy being in the way is originally why I didn't think that it would be feasible to put the Honda transmission in, because it is right in the way of where the diff is. So the solution to that would be make a whole new subframe. Unbolt the original Porsche subframe, make a new one that will cradle the engine and give us the clearance we need to run a drive shaft through that area. That will be what we need to do to make this work. All right, so we put a couple Honda axles in, and Eric's holding them, and we kind of wanted to capture how aggressive the Porsche angle was. And basically you can see that center line of the original axle and how much it comes back towards the back of the car. It's hard to capture with the camera, but there's definitely a very aggressive angle towards the back of the car with the original axle alignment. Over on this side, we have what would be the new angle for the axle, and we've kind of just mocked it up so we can hold the suspension components in place without the subframe here, so that we can now test our axle angle. And it is no worse and maybe even slightly less aggressive than the original Porsche axle angle. Hard to see, but I definitely don't think the axle angles are going to be an issue with lining everything up. But either way, we're not too concerned about this axle angle. I think it's well within a reasonable amount. So while we're down here, I have a Prl Turbo Manifold for this specific engine, and we had wanted to test fit it, and it turns out there's a bit of interference, unfortunately. The off-the-shelf Prl 9th gen turbo manifold, as much as I would like to use this, it's interfering with the frame. So unfortunately, this isn't gonna fit, but we'll try to figure out some other solution. But why don't I get in the car and show you what a K24 looks like from inside the car from the top. All right guys, so K24 engine in the Cayman from inside the car. Last time I didn't actually get a chance to show you what the engine cover would be like if with the K series in place. So why don't I quickly just grab the engine cover and put it in place. All right, so engine cover in place, all lined up on this side. It actually can be bolted down on this side, but the valve cover does stick up a bit high over here, causing us to have a bit of interference. I think it's actually this dimple. So I'm curious if, I'm not gonna do it yet, but technically I think you could flatten out this dimple and basically get the clearance that's needed to bolt the engine cover down. I'm not sure if this is actually an important contour. Maybe it has something to do with clearance for the Boxsters. At some point, I would really like to check out a Boxster and see if the engine cover is the same. But one interesting thing about Caymans is that I know there is a glass cover that goes in place of this engine cover, so you can actually see the engine bay. And I've looked at those glass covers, and it basically sits in here. It sits on top of this space. And technically, if you were to get one of those glass covers and have it sit on this ledge all the way around, that's how it fits, you wouldn't have any engine clearance issues. And you'd be able to see the engine, and technically you could still just run a stock Honda K-Series valve cover. You wouldn't have to go with a low profile one, but if you did run the low profile one, I believe that would technically give you enough clearance so you could just refit this OEM engine cover. Pros and cons to both. The OEM engine cover provides sound deadening because there's another piece of carpet that goes over top of this, whereas a glass one, there's no sound deadening. But either way, very interesting. I definitely think K24 is definitely doable. So to those that were asking is why not a K24? I do think you can do K24 no problem. And when we get further along on this kit, we will try to make sure that the subframe can accommodate both K20 and K24. So I think I'm gonna pull the K24 out of the space now, put the K20 back in, and test fit some of those turbo manifolds. All right guys, K20 back on our engine stand. And the reason why I wanted to put the K20 back on the engine stand is this K20 has the traditional K-Series style cylinder head with the 4 exhaust ports. And the majority of the turbo manifolds that I have that my good friend Milo from JDM Addiction lent me are traditional turbo manifolds. So I'm very curious to see if any of these turbo manifolds will fit. At the beginning of the day when I brought them here, I had high hopes, but as soon as we went and test fit this Prl style turbo manifold on the K24, then I realized that I think we're working with less space than I thought we were working, or at least I hoped we were working with, because you can actually see the Prl turbo manifold sticks out only so much, and we ended up hitting the frame of the car. Go like this and line them up, and there's actually even more material up here, which is going to be a problem. Say we compare now this turbo manifold to a Sidewinder. The Sidewinder is a little bit narrower, I think it looks like. So as much as I really want to run the Prl 8th Gen SI turbo manifold, I don't think it's gonna fit if this one didn't fit. But I kind of have maybe some hope that one of these Sidewinders will fit. But let's find out. All right guys, so I have the Sidewinder turbo manifold bolted up to the K20 head, and it does fit nice and tight up against the engine, but it's still, I think it's gonna be a tight fit. So why don't we lift this engine up into place and see if this off-the-shelf style turbo manifold will fit in this swap. Well, unfortunately, there is some interference. The turbo manifold just does not clear the opening of the engine bay. Realistically, this is where the engine needs to be. The only way to offset this would be to tilt the engine even more forward, and something we're considering in this swap is as opposed to having the engine and pointing straight up and down like we've showed in the original video where the engine is perfectly straight up and down, we've also considered leaning the engine forward like they would in other kits. I believe it is about 10 or 12 or 15 degrees forward lean, and if we do that, then technically one of these turbo manifolds might fit, but for now, straight up and down with the engine position front to back as it needs to be. This off-the-shelf turbo manifold doesn't clear the engine bay, which kind of sucks, but when you look at how much space is back here, there's still tons of room for a turbo manifold. Just might not be something that's off the shelf, or technically just not a manifold that I've been able to get my hands on today. There might be other manifolds that would fit, maybe ones that fit slightly differently, maybe a bit more compact. I'm gonna have to look into this more. I'm not too discouraged. It would be really nice if we could find a turbo manifold that would fit without having to go custom, but worst case scenario, we have to go custom. This one doesn't fit, so I might as well bring the engine down and just quickly test fit the Prl 8th gen turbo manifold. See, I don't think it's gonna fit. It doesn't look like it's gonna fit. It really doesn't, but I might as well bolt it up since I have it here on hand and just see how close it actually is. Okay guys, so this is the Prl 8th gen Civic Si turbo manifold. Super nice piece. I have one of these exact manifolds on my 8th gen Civic Si, and it does a really good job of tucking a turbo down in this space. I have a fairly large turbo on my 8th gen. It's a GTX 3582R, and it fits really nicely up against the firewall of the 8th gen. That being said, I think this space is even tighter than the 8th gen, and the 8th gen's pretty tight. So it does not look like it's gonna fit, unfortunately, but we might as well lift it up and see how far it goes. Well, I don't think we even got as far with this one, unfortunately, and right off the bat, we hit the outlet for the wastegate, and that's going to be a big problem. There's no space for the wastegate, so unfortunately, I don't think it's going to work. Thanks again to Milo at My JDM Addiction for lending us these turbo manifolds. I really am glad we got a chance to test fit them. It is disappointing that it doesn't seem like an off-the-shelf turbo manifold is going to fit very easily, but we are going to proceed. Maybe we can find something else that will fit. Worst case scenario, something custom has to be made. Not the end of the world. Anyways, that's probably about it for this video. Hope you guys have enjoyed it so far. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you like it, do me a favor, hit like. If you haven't already, consider subscribing, and I'll keep you guys posted on this project. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye now.